Welcome to ChiroSecure's Empowering Women in Chiropractic, the Facebook Live show for successful women by successful women, proving once again women make it happen. Join us each week as we bring you the best in business growth, practice management, social media marketing, networking, leadership, and lots more. If it's about women in practice and business, you'll hear it here. Now join today's host, Dr. Nicole Lindsey, as she talks overhead, debt, and creating other sources of income. And now, here's Dr. Nicole.
Hello, welcome everybody. I'm your host for today's show, Dr. Nicole Lindsey, founder of Dominate ChiroMarketing, where I teach chiropractors how to build profitable relationships with medical doctors to grow their practice and to bridge gaps so we can elevate our profession. First of all, before we start, I want to give a shout out to ChiroSecure for bringing us together once again, empowering women, men, students, CAs, everybody in our profession to raise our game, to get educated, to bring us together. So thank you, ChiroSecure, for all that you do. Today's guest, I'm very excited about. She is a chiropractor in full-time practice. She's also the executive director and chairman of the board of Spinal Missions, which we'll talk a little bit more about that. She's been overseeing that organization for well over 7 years. She is a powerhouse and she's a friend, Dr. Shannon Darrow. Welcome.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing great. We're in the afternoon in my neck of the woods.
But this whole time change thing is so crazy for me still. Being an East Coast girl and now living on the West Coast for 2.5 years, I'm still confused on Facebook when people post lunch and dinner.
I hear you. I completely understand. Today's topic is reigniting our chiropractic purpose. So let's talk about that because this is so important. And just before we went live, we were talking about how as DCs, as seasoned, veteran DCs, we tend to lose that zest for what we do, the why. Why is it so important, do you think, that chiropractors have this buzzing passion?
Our message gets lost when we don't love what we do. The second you walk into an office, you get that feel of whether or not there's that passion and that care for a patient. It's really hard to care for a patient in a vacuum where you're like, if you ever walk into a medical office, it's very sanitary. And that's what you would expect in a medical office. When you walk into a chiropractic office, you expect that open arms feeling. That's how we've gotten dubbed the alternative provider, because we actually care and love for our patients, not just looking at them as a number. And I think that so many chiropractors get trapped in this, well, did I make my number? Did I make that my number? That's going to come if the patients actually can feel that energy coming off of you, because they're going to want to bring their friends in. They're going to want to bring family in if you treat them the right way from day one.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I think it's really wild how you look at other professions, they are not so concerned about their why, their philosophy. I'm married to a physical therapist, and I don't think he had any philosophy courses in his career, but we as chiropractors, it's kind of the end all be all as to, why we do what we do. We have to have that ingrained in us. You went to Life University, right?
I did.
Yes. So we're fortunate. We got that.
Absolutely. But we lose that is the problem. I'm married to a nurse practitioner, so very medical, but the understanding and me being able to meet my partner where my partner is on the spectrum is so critical. We can't just always shove our own agenda down people's throats. I think that it's really important that our fire has to be able to be tailored to our audience too. But when our fire is completely quelched because we're so concerned with what insurance is going to pay us, or not seeing 150 visits or 300 visits, then we lose any way to even maneuver in any community.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very easy to do. And I know for myself, I've been practicing for almost 20 years. So when I got out of school, we didn't have Google, we didn't have internet, we didn't have a way, or the patients didn't have a way to go and search chiropractic, or, this natural way of taking care of yourself wasn't trending then. So it wasn't the in thing to do. So chiropractors were so beat down. We came out of school, we got it in school, but once we got out in practice, it was like there was so much resistance, and we were constantly fighting every day, trying to educate, trying to get this point across to our patients. And for me, I know the philosophy really helped me back then, really get through those hard days in practice.
And I've found my thing is, I do a lot of mission work. That's kind of my thing. My niche is the mission work that we do. So for me, it's like docs go and sit in a seminar for a weekend. They're fired up for 2 weeks, maybe 3 after the fact, if we're lucky, right?
Right.
If you go down on a mission trip, or even a mission in our own country, and you actually get to give that first and only adjustment to a patient, and you see the immediate lasting effects of the joy in their face, that's something that reignites your fire again. That's something that gets you back into chiropractic, where, in school, how many times are we scared to touch somebody? That's my true passion, is when I'm on a mission trip with a student and they're like, well, wait, they're 100 years old, I can't touch them. And you're like, wait, they have a spine. Why can't you touch them? Or they're sick. What am I supposed to do? What do you mean? And we're taught all along to be afraid of all these things. And I'm not saying practice recklessly, because that's definitely not the case. But we have to understand the power and the gift that we've learned, and how much that can actually impress one person with one adjustment.
For sure. For sure. That just gave me chills when you reminded me of giving somebody their first adjustment. And I know it happens all the time in practice, but we take it for granted. We really do, how special it is.
Absolutely do, because we are entrenched in this scarcity mentality as chiros, that it's, I can't even sit down and talk with another chiro because they're afraid I'm going to take patients from them. And it's so interesting to me. Then when I get them on a mission trip and I'm like, hey, you know what? We're going to just adjust side by side. We're going to sweat. It's going to be not awesome conditions, but we are going to truly just serve from our heart. And then I get these beautiful emails where it's like, I'm not scared to go meet with all the other chiros, because I know my passion is different. I know my communication is different now because of what I've done and what I've given to another person. And I think that so much of what we do, we're losing that give back factor. We're just trapped in, we've got to pay our bills. We're $250,000 in debt. And that's real life, yes. But if we stay in that scarcity mentality, we're never going to get back to where we need to get to.
Right, right. So we get disconnected from our purpose. We get disconnected from why we do what we do for lots of reasons. You're talking about the scarcity mentality. What's another reason you think we get disconnected from this?
For students, is that they're so concerned with making each one of their benchmarks. For chiros, they're concerned about what's coming over their shoulder, because we've got a bad reputation of eating our young. So I think that those are all the things. And it's interesting because I try to talk to every chiro that's on a trip with me, and I always step aside time, because now I've been doing this for, I think, 13 years now, 14 years.
Oh, wow.
I try on each trip with a practicing chiro to say, just promise me this: when you hire an associate, you're hiring someone because you need help, not because you want your numbers to go up. Because you are hiring someone for a purpose of helping you, not making you more money. Do they make you more money if they're good? Absolutely. But that shouldn't be your sole purpose. And then what you're finding is these young chiros are getting burned out because they're working 90 hours a week, doing screenings, doing all this other stuff, paying their dues, as is being said. Where I would love to see a chiro just want to say, you know what, I'm going to offer this chiro X amount of dollars because I think that's what they're worth coming out of school. I'm going to let them prove themselves to me, and then offer them more money. Or offer them a chance for ownership, or even help fund them for ownership for a secondary clinic. These are the things I would love to see an ignited chiro offer to someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. Great idea. I think too, not only for a student, a young doc, but a seasoned veteran getting disconnected, just getting too busy. keeping up with getting married, having kids, working your tail off in your practice, and not really having the time or making the time to feed your soul,
Oh,
not
100%.
necessarily chiropractic, but what makes you happy. What for me, I know I was thinking about this preparing for this interview, and I was like, well, going for a hike in the woods or a run, does it for me. It gets me reignited. Or a girls trip, just had one last weekend with 10 female chiropractors. I mean, that juices me, So doing things like that, if you don't feed your soul, you can't be happy, and you can't be open for giving, serving.
And I think that's the biggest thing that happens, is that even a lot of chiros I talk to, because they'll reach out to me, hey doc, what can I do to help out? I'm like, well, what's your motive? Do you want to help out, or are you trying to get new patients? Because believe it or not, it comes across. If you're just doing, like we did a sports drive a couple years ago, took tons of sporting equipment, got to see a kid play with a soccer ball for the first time. Amazing experience, right? And every doc that I worked with, the first thing I asked them was, why are you doing it? And if it was, well, we're hoping that patients will get a better vibe for us, I was like, I don't think you're a good fit. And I have no problem ever saying, hey, you're just not a good fit. And if you call me and you're like, hey, I'm just disconnected, I'll be like, you are the perfect fit. If you're worried about money, I will figure something out. We will fundraise for you. We'll figure something out, because I know that I can get you back on track. I've had students who are like, I'm going to drop out of chiropractic school. I'm like, no, come on with us. Give me 4 days of your life. You can afford 4 days of your life to be gone. And they come down, they actually remember the power of the adjustment, not all the books. They remember the power of the adjustment, not all the bills. And it gets them back on track. They get back into practice, and they just watch their numbers go up. Because when they do their patient lectures, they're talking from their heart again, and not just from their brain.
Awesome. Awesome. So how do we reawaken? If somebody's listening to this right now and they feel disconnected, they feel off track, what can they do to light that fire again for our profession?
Reach out. It's so funny, because I take a step back and I look at my career, and I'm like, I've done all kinds of crazy stuff for chiropractic. I reach out to so many different docs every day, and I have a mentor box where it's like, I will hit up you, Kathy. I have a whole list of docs in my arsenal that when I'm just like, man, something doesn't feel right, I'll reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out to the leaders in our profession. Guess what? They put on pants just like us. Just because they made $1 million, $5 million, whatever they've made, they still go to the bathroom the same way you do. They still put pants on the same way you do. They are not too proud to help you. It's just that they're not used to having people ask them. I found that a lot of you guys that are awesome at the profession, and I am just so enamored with, that when I reach out to you, you're so open and accepting of, just helping, that that's how you get reignited. Don't be afraid. Facebook message them. We're in an awesome era where send them a Facebook message. I have been so blessed by meeting you and Monica and Kathy, all of the Janice Hughes. I mean, all of the women that I've gotten to surround myself with, this power tribe, that I never feel alone, because I will reach out to y'all and just say, you know what, I've had a rough day. And you just have this like awesome tribe around you. And that's my takeaway, is like, surround yourself with a tribe. Get your tribe to do something crazy with you. I mean, for me, it's go down to a mission trip. If that's not it, have a lake weekend, get together and just get that tribe in one spot. It's reinvesting back in yourself.
I love it. I think it's awesome. And I love the fact that ChiroSecure has been a leader in bringing women together to do this. When I first came out of practice 20 years ago, we didn't have this. I didn't have all the coaches, the consultants were all men, and very few women were there to support other women. So yes, so I agree 100%. Find mentors and definitely reach out to women. Don't be afraid to do that. If it's a man that juices you, then do that. Find a male coach or a male colleague, but know that there's a lot of women that will help you. So let's talk about this mission trip, because I am so excited about being part of it. You're hosting one in Jamaica the end of the year over New Year's. We have an awesome group of chiros coming to that, continuing ed, and we're going to do a whole lot of reconnecting. So yes. Tell me about this.
This is my joking. I get to hold the chiros that I wanted to hold hostage, because you're at an all-inclusive resort and you can't get too far from me. So this is what I tell students about this, and I tell chiros about this. You will never, ever have 4 days of unfettered access to people in a swimming pool, at the beach, be like, hey, come on, let's hop on a kayak together. You will never, ever get access to a lot of these higher profile or more dominant people, because when you guys speak, you're on the stage for 45 minutes and then you're done. And a lot of times you guys fly out or you go somewhere. We're at an all-inclusive resort. I mean, I can grab you and be like, let's go grab some lunch, and let's chat. It will be an opportunity to really dig to y'all's brains to decide if you resonate with this person. Does their program resonate with you? And that's why I picked people that resonated with me. And people are like, well, how do you pick your speakers? That's always, how do I get on your speakers panel? I'm like, honestly, you just have to resonate with me. And I dig into people's backgrounds, because if I see something in the background, I'm like, not really my thing. I tend to shy away just because it's people that resonate with the type of people I want to attract. So the health ministry will be sending out our formal letters where all of my docs will be getting temporary licenses down there, which is a super cool thing. I did that every time I've done it to Jamaica. We get them to issue us an official welcome letter that says, hey, you're welcome in our country. We're really happy you're treating musculoskeletal complaints, because that's how they understand what we do, which I'm okay with, because we've got to get our foot in the door somehow.
Yes. My relationship with MDs, I mean, we have to speak their language, right? So I totally get it.
Exactly. And how do you define a subluxation to health ministry when if I put 5 chiros in a room, they can't give me a definition? Yeah. So I have to kind of meet people where they can meet us. Mm-hmm. So we get beautiful letters from them, and we'll be doing CE credits during this time where we are really hands-on CE. Tim Young is going to be there doing philosophy to keep us really fired up and doing some technique stuff. And I always encourage my speakers that have kind of been boxed into, I only do this, to show us some of your flair. What are those super cool adjusting techniques that you've learned over the years that no one ever put you on a stage for because you don't sell technique? But it's a good chance for you to show me, hey, that's how I get to that T1. That's how I get into this joint. Because you guys have done it so much longer than anybody else normally. And you have big, thriving practices, and you're taking time away. So why not share the depth of your knowledge instead of the box of your knowledge for me?
I love it. I am so thrilled to be a part of this for lots of reasons. I've always wanted to go on a mission trip. And when you invited me to come, it was a no-brainer for me. That's probably the most intriguing part for me is you asked, you don't have to be part of the mission. You can just come and speak. And I'm like, oh, heck no. I can't wait to get my hands on people. And that's what I thought was I really want to reconnect with my beloved profession. So thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to do this. And I look forward to bringing a bunch of chiros and connecting with everybody. And I'll be talking about MD marketing and building relationships. And yes, we'll be poolside. We'll be, doing our lecture, but also there's going to be a whole lot of rubbing shoulders and sharing gems and pearls and giving it what we got.
It's going to be it's really an awesome experience. And, I tell people, if you don't want to be part of the mission, totally, I get it. That's not for everybody. But if you really just want to do it for one day, go out for one day. It's, 5-6 hours of your life. You can come back to the pool and relax. We try to get everybody back by 2:30. So literally go out, adjust a kid for the first time again. Remember what that feels like to not have to convince a parent that this kid needs chiropractic care, because the kids are so jazzed and the parents are so jazzed about it. The kid just jumps up on your table and you're good to go. It's like, get back to that. Get back to adjusting the 90-year-old woman without having to do a full-fledged exam where you're just focusing in on her, talking to her body and communicating with her that way.
I love it. I love it. Well, just talking to you, I've got my passion reignited, and I can't wait to get more later this year. So thank you so much for being with me today, Dr. Shannon Darrow. And next show will be Dr. Kathy Winland Colby, and that will be in 2 weeks. Empowering Women in Chiropractic will be back. Thank you for watching, everybody. We appreciate it.
Join us each week as we bring you the best in business growth, practice management, social media marketing, networking, leadership, and lots more. If it's about women in practice and business, you'll hear it here. We hope you enjoyed this week's Facebook Live event. Please like us on Facebook, comment, and share. We look forward to seeing all of you next week for another episode of Empowering Women in Chiropractic. Now, go ahead and hit the share button and tell your friends and colleagues about the show. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day. This has been a ChiroSecure production.